Hello.
Will strike me dead on the 4th of July. It's the Greater Mythos podcast, a very unorganized podcast where we talk about gaming, movies, everything in between. I'm Josh. You're Josh. You look confused.
Why on the 4th of July?
Why not on the 4th of July? It's a patriotic holiday, and why not? I don't know. Why not?
We'll go with it. So,
I'd say we go with it.
some announcements, news before we get into the meat of the podcast.
I don't even know what the meat's going to be, but I'm ready for whatever's about to happen.
So next week we are planning, TM
Yes.
trademark, we
Yes.
are planning on doing a Mass Effect oriented episode. And no, this was actually the other Josh's idea, even though I am the fan of the series.
What a
So-
disclaimer.
But I am, of course, excited. I did not decline the offer. So because Legendary Edition is coming out, we're going to do a couple segments, questions for me, questions for Josh. We're going to go over some changes from the original trilogy to this new remaster trilogy and some thoughts on why I think people should try it who haven't.
You're just gleaming right now. You're gleaming right now talking about something that hasn't happened yet.
That's because in 28 days, my favorite game is coming back out, this time
Again,
in HD.
it's
Yeah.
coming again.
I'm going to spend even more. I already bought it, but
That's all right.
I've already spent more money on it. So that was the news. I don't think we have any more.
That was, if that wasn't, I think that's the only amount of news that I can handle personally. But I mean, I don't think we're going to beat that, but I say we just try and just conversate. We have a good conversation, and maybe I have some things that are going to interest you, and maybe you have some things that will interest me. And if not, then we'll call it quits now, and we'll reconvene on the 4th of July.
I did hear something, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I'm ready.
So I'm not even going to state my opinion. I'm just going to state the news, and I want to hear what you say.
Whoa.
So have you heard of the game? First of all, this isn't the real question, but have you heard of the game Path of Exile?
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a dungeon crawling, top-down perspective game. I think it's on everything. Well,
Mhm.
Anyway, so Path of Exile just released their latest expansion, and there was some controversy involved because they had server issues with the launch, which happens every time as far as I remember. But
Mhm.
it was so bad, there were like 20 to 30,000 queues of people to log into the game. Like you had to wait in line to log in. And the controversy comes from the fact that live streamers, people on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Gaming, whatever, they were able to skip the line and got straight in.
Okay.
And so the controversy is you've got the streamers saying, well, of course they're going to do that because we promote the game for free. And
Right.
then they got the other side, the regular fans, like, well, that's privilege. They shouldn't get the extra privilege. Everyone should have to wait in the same line. So that's the controversy. What is your thought?
That sounds like politics.
If this was what politics was, I'd be more interested in politics.
Wow, interesting. No, if I heard you correctly, so what you're saying is, long story short, people with some notable platforms in the
Mhm.
gaming community are receiving early access to a product, and the common folk are not.
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't sound surprising to me, because correct me if I'm wrong, that's already been happening with games forever, as
Mhm.
far as like reviewers getting the early copy to do their reviews and, to do their, for lack of better words, before you buys and things like that. I
Mhm.
mean, is there something different about this specific situation? Did I miss something?
Well, since everyone still has access to the game, but they're all stuck trying to log in, and there is it's like a line outside of a store. It would basically be
Gotcha.
like the streamer shows up to the GameStop for the midnight release of the game and just skips the line and gets the first copy. And then a bunch of people end up not being able to play that day. So before I state any of my opinions, this is a perspective I saw from another content creator who said that the main reason why people are actually upset is because you have to see it from their shoes. This is their favorite game. Maybe they took off work to play the new release, and they finally get here to play it. They've got their Mountain Dew, they've got their Cheetos, And then-
Wow, goodness.
and they're stuck in a queue and they can't get in. And then they turn onto the stream to see if the streamers are having the same issue, and they're all playing the game just fine, almost like they have their own private server of just streamers to play with. And I think it makes logical sense why they would do that. Streamers are basically a free commercial permanently
Right.
for the
Right.
company. And an idea I had that I didn't see anyone speak of was that everyone's stuck in a queue. At least you can watch someone playing the game while you're sitting there looking at a queue.
Sure, right.
And the streamers are generally entertaining.
And you have your Cheez-Its and your Doritos or whatever you said. So you're snacking.
Some type of cheesy snack is
Correct,
required.
Correct.
For the elitist gamers. But anyway, yeah, that was just a big controversy that recently happened. And so as a result, they undid that. They took away the streamer priority queue, and then everybody was stuck together.
Was there any consequence for that? Like, did servers crash because more people were able to get in, or did nothing happen?
It's just no one was streaming it. All the streamers were having to sit in queue. But I mean, it didn't change anything in the end, but it just made some of the normal people, the non-streamers, feel vindicated, I suppose.
Did you share your thoughts on that? Did I miss it, or were you not going to?
I was just saying that it makes sense why the company did it.
Okay, I would agree with you. But also, I don't want to get in trouble, so maybe it's not okay.
Well, personally, I think just streamer queue, just to get streamers through. I mean, they get enough privileges as it is. I don't know. I guess it's just when it's so clear that you're doing it, when every streamer is able to play and nobody else is able to play, it's pretty clear that there's some kind of priority there, and it's gonna cause people are gonna be mad, right? Regardless of how you do it.
Forgive me. Did you say that? Did people get early access codes, or is it just like
no? The game was out. It's Path of Exile's free, right? It's a free to play game. The game, the expansion was out. Everyone could play it. The problem is it's an online multiplayer game, so you have to log in to play. And everybody was trying to log in at once, and the servers basically create a line like outside the store and at GameStop. As they log in one person at a time, it goes pretty quick. But when there's 30,000 people in line, it can take a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, and when the streamers are able to skip the line and go in, just so they could promote the new expansion, the new release. I mean, financially, it makes the most sense. They make a ton of money off streamers, so get them in as early as possible. It's just, you're going to make customers mad. And I think every company knows this by now.
Are you mad?
No, because I don't really play the game.
Then we can move on.
It's just something notable, I thought. Because
absolutely.
I know all our multiplayer only games have done this in the past before. So
interesting. Well, allow me to shift from a massive multiplayer game to a specifically first-person linear storytelling experience. Do you know where I'm going?
There are a lot of games like that.
I know. Do you want to take a wild guess?
You were talking about playing Phoenix Rising. Is that a shooter?
Nope. Allow me to take over because that was the complete opposite direction. So there's rumors, there's rumblings, there are whispers in the night out there that Bioshock 4. Have you heard about this? Do you know where I'm going?
I assumed there was going to be one, but I haven't heard this.
Okay. Bioshock 4, there are supposed job listings that have been found that would appear to confirm that there will be an open world approach to Bioshock 4. You know, they found like some side quests type of codes or whatever you want to call them. In general, that's from PC Gamer, the website, whatever. So there's that. You've played the Bioshock games, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all of them?
Yes.
What a coincidence. So have I. I thought they were super great. I beat all of them, made me feel good about myself. Bioshock Infinite was the last one, I believe. Super great. To my knowledge, they were relatively well, it's not that they were open world games, but they were bigger areas to explore, right? For all of them.
Yeah, they weren't just like railroad hallways. Like you would have to backtrack in levels and you could explore the levels. But there were levels. It wasn't just one persistent world, yeah.
Interesting. Any thoughts about a theoretical open world Bioshock experience of some kind?
So, like with any game, when you move to open world, you have an incredible amount of potential, right? Some of the best games ever made have been open world, but also some of the worst games ever made.
And tremendous opportunity to F it up.
Yeah. So it could go either way. The Bioshock games are amazing, so
yes.
I couldn't imagine them messing this up, but that isn't the first time studios have made trilogies and then screwed up. Looking at you, BioWare.
No way.
So it can happen. But I mean, I guess it's just my philosophy on games as a whole these days is that with AAA titles, I don't trust the companies anymore. Like I can't have faith that it's going to be good anymore. Which
Were
is
all three made by the same developer? I forget.
I think so. I can look that up.
Yeah, bring that up. If anything, maybe Infinite was made by a different one, but I think the first two were the same.
So it was made, well, published by EA, but it was developed by. Oh, no.
Oh,
Wait, that was wrong.
oh.
Bioshock
There you go.
developer.
Did you put like Tupperware or something?
It says it was 2K.
Yeah.
So
rings a bell.
yeah. So apparently 2K made the whole thing. I mean, there's been other studios involved, but 2K's been the main developer. So I mean, it clearly. I mean, 2K isn't known besides this series for making good games. They usually make cheap mass-produced sports games, but
well, yeah, I was gonna say, what else have they done? Silly question. I don't retain all of that kind of information. Do they do all like the sports, like the MLBs and the HIJKs and stuff, or what?
It's usually basketball. They make WWE now.
Yeah, basketball. That's what I'm remembering. Or that's what I'm thinking of.
They make the golf games, which I mean, I played the latest one and it was golf. It didn't seem
no
bad.
way. Golf was golf.
It got popular because streamers were playing it out of nowhere. It was fun. It worked.
Did you buy a golf game?
I got it for $30, but I did because all my friends were playing it, and you could play the custom-made courses, and they were always
can you 1v1 in golf?
You can.
Very
but no,
good.
the custom courses were the best part because people would make like these super ridiculous-looking courses where you had to like bounce a golf ball off a ship and then like go down a massive hill, and then it's just crazy stuff. Not real golf. That was the most fun part.
Interesting going from golf and basketball to an underwater utopia full of like drugged out nightmares.
They also were in conjunction with making Borderlands. So
yeah, I was thinking about that when I originally asked the question, what else have they done? So they did do the Borderlands then, 2K, right?
I know they published it. I don't know how much in the development side they were on, but they were definitely involved.
And the first one was great.
Borderlands? Oh. I liked Borderlands 1 and 2. I've played all three, beaten all three. I've even beaten the pre-sequel, which was Pre-sequel was
Okay.
1 and 2 were great. 3 was meh.
Left a lot to be desired, huh?
Yeah, it's like 1 and 2 were kind of known for their kind of like cheesy humor, but it was still kind of funny at times. 3 was like they were pushing the dad jokes.
Right.
It was
interesting.
It wasn't as funny.
I've heard mixed reviews on 3. But before we close the book on what's it called? Bioshock. The book on Bioshock? There's too many B's. What are your thoughts? I mean, if you in 30 seconds or less, if you think of another Bioshock project, what kind of vibe would you imagine they're going to kind of go after? Are you going back to hang on, don't tell me. Hang on. Son of a gun. This is embarrassing.
I'm going to tell you.
What's the letter? What does it start with?
R.
Rapture. Oh. Yes. Oh, my gamer card is secure. Are we going back to Rapture in some way, shape, or form? Are we going back to Cloud City? Are they going to do something completely different? If you were a betting man, what would you think?
I am assuming something different. Although, underwater open world game, that'd be the first of its kind. That sounds amazing. Well, I guess technically, I guess that one game, Subnautica is open world.
Subnautica, yeah.
But I think like going through underwater bases, and I think that would be so cool.
There's a lot of potential with Rapture still, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean, fine. Either way, I'm happy with it. I just don't want it to be open world for the sake of being open world. You know what I'm talking about, where it's just
and that's kind of why I mentioned where I feel like the first 3 games, again, they weren't necessarily or technically open world, but they still had the open environments. And so if they just more or less capitalize on what they already had been doing, I could could be fine. I mean, if they Ghost Recon Wildlands it, then that would be a strange approach, but
we will see.
We will see.
So on that note,
I love notes.
They published the top 10 best-selling games of March, this past March. So what do you think? Guess. without any hints.
Okay.
What the number one is.
The number one selling game of March of this year.
Yes.
Hang on. Let me meditate on this for a second.
Because maybe it's what you think, but it's also maybe not what you think.
Okay. Is it cross-platform?
Yes.
Was it a re-released game or a remake?
No.
A new title?
Yes. Not in March, but as in the, like, still newer.
Right. Can I have 3 guesses?
Yes.
This first one, thank you. This first one might be silly, but Outriders.
That was number 3.
Holy cow. Top 3. Big deal. Hang on. Gosh, let me think. So it wasn't even necessarily a game that came out in March.
No. It
Okay,
definitely
well,
did not
crap.
come out in March.
Came out this year, though.
Last year.
Oh, gosh.
Pretty sure it was last year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I cash in my 2 other guesses. You just tell me.
Cold War is the best-selling game of March. I don't know why, but it was.
What do you make of that?
Did they release something?
As you saw me just stare blankly at you for about 5 seconds, what do you make of that?
I have no idea, because Outriders came out,
Right.
and Monster Hunter Rise came out.
Yeah.
That's like the two big. You got the RPG fans playing Monster Hunter Rise. You've got the Destiny people, the looter shooters playing Outriders.
the grinders, if you will.
Right. And then I guess everybody else bought Cold War. I don't know.
That's bizarre, man. Huh.
And it's retail and digital, but it doesn't count microtransactions. So just buying the game. They
Just
were number
buying
one.
the unit. That's
They beat out 2 brand new games in March, which is impressive. So
well,
I'll just go ahead.
Oh,
I was
you
just
go
gonna go ahead and list out the rest of it.
Well, yeah, really quick. So I was just gonna say, let me interrupt you yet again. Just listen. Let me say something. Just listen. I guess you could say that. Well, it's not shocking because it's Call of Duty.
Mhm.
You know the brand, but I guess why I'm surprised is that unless if I missed a memo somewhere, as we've previously discussed, this specific duty has not been not only the quote unquote best, that's subjective, but also hasn't been the best received.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. I guess I'm just surprised to hear that it's still selling like hotcakes, apparently.
I know they recently released a new zombies map, but that was a couple months ago.
Right.
And so yeah, I don't know.
And they're still doing their new, the battle pass thing and all that stuff.
And they've got the new Warzone and everything attached to it. So.
Yeah, and before you say the rest of the list, I will say, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week, I needed to make some space on my hard drive for my Xbox. Did I tell you about this?
Mm-hmm.
Did I?
You did. I don't know if you did it on podcast, but you surely told me.
Well, long story short, I was like, okay, I'm getting rid of one of the 2 Call of Duties. It was Modern Warfare via a la 19 or Cold War. And in my head, I'm like, well, for me, as we've discussed, I'm taking too long to tell the story. I thought Modern Warfare was a better game. Doesn't matter. I uninstalled Modern Warfare because Cold War is quote unquote newer and there's still stuff being put out for it. That was my only reason that I kept it. And I just wanted to say that. So anyway, moving on. I'm not bitter. You're bitter. Say the list.
I haven't had it installed for several months. So anyway,
weird, man.
Number 1 was Cold War, and there's some other information on here. Last month it was number 2, so it actually jumped a spot.
What? Okay.
With 2 new releases, Monster Hunter Rise is 2. Streamers are playing that to like crazy, and Monster Hunter always gets really popular on release. And then Outriders is number 3. It probably would have been higher if the issues didn't exist. And then number 4, which was number 1 last month because of a new expansion, was Super Mario 3D World. Number 4.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Because they released like a Bowser's Fury mini expansion for it.
All right. Let me hop in. So, wait. So say it again. That was number what now?
The Mario game?
Yeah.
Number 4 in March.
But you said it was number 1
last month.
Okay. So, with all due respect, why do you think that was number 1 last month? Is it because it's a stellar game that has the big following, hashtag Mario, or is it because not a lot of newer stuff has been coming out?
Well, I'll tell you what it was competing with in the top 10. And then
Okay.
number 5 was Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Great game. I played and beat it. I can pat myself on the back for that one.
Mario Kart 8. The game
Haven't
that came out
touched it.
the game that came out 2-3 years ago on the Wii U was re-released on the Switch. It's still number 6. It's been in the top 10 it was even in the top 10 last month. It's been up there for a while. No new content. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is 7, was also 7 last month.
I've heard it's meh.
Yeah. That's what I think of every Animal Crossing. Assassin's
Whoa.
Creed. Animal Crossing is the
Oh,
next one on
ouch.
the list. I was reading it. So Animal Crossing New Horizons is still selling well. It's got the crowd that plays like The Sims, and they're playing.
Yeah. It has a cult following there.
Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Now, there's a reason why it sold really well in March. That was the limited release where they were like re-releasing Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy in one package, but it was going to end on March 31st. So everybody just went out to make sure they got their copy before they stopped selling it. Because it was 16th last month and it's 9th this month. That was the reason for the jump.
It's simply too much Mario.
And then Minecraft. Dude, people love their Mario.
And then Minecraft, he says. Oh
Yeah,
my
Minecraft
gosh.
is number
That
10.
was number...
Minecraft is still selling.
People are still buying Minecraft.
And Fortnite would probably be on this list if it was a pay-to-play, but it is not.
Hang on. Does it say, or does it break it down into like what consoles like these are being bought for or whatever, or is it just like base numbers?
This is all retail and digital combined.
Because I was gonna say, I'm curious if this information is even available. Where Minecraft is still being bought the most on, like for what platform? That's bizarre.
The last time I heard about that was in a video I watched, and it was the two most popular places to purchase Minecraft were mobile and PC.
Mobile makes sense.
But Xbox was also up there too for Minecraft.
Sure, it's on
But-
Game Pass, I think.
So I mean so they wouldn't count sales on that. But yeah, interestingly enough, you said it's a lot of Mario. Nintendo is in 4 of the top 10 for as publisher. And Activision Blizzard is people who made Call of Duty. Activision and Blizzard are a combined company now. Capcom is the people who made Monster Hunter. Square Enix made Outriders, so they're up there. Sony is Spider-Man. And Ubisoft is Assassin's Creed. I hate that they ever get into a top 10 because I hate Ubisoft.
Oh,
And then Minecraft is on everything. So, but Nintendo is in 4 of the top 10. Nintendo stuff sells. It just will.
right.
There's a reason why older people call everything a Nintendo. It's because
Oh, you got that new Nintendo? It's a computer, Paul.
yes,
No
literally.
disrespect.
So so the 3D All Stars, we talked about it. It jumped spots because it was a limited run. So collectors were buying the game last month.
Snatching it up.
3D World stream, and like half of these are because of streamers, but not the Cold War. That still surprises me and bothers me.
Were you gonna say? Yeah, I was gonna say that bothers you.
It's just
why does it bother you not to go down the rabbit trail that is Call of Duty again?
Call of Duty, Black Ops, Cold War.
Oh my god!
And Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the original Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, are virtually the same game. Same game modes, same controls.
Hang on, repeat that.
The original Modern Warfare, all the
From
way to
2000 whatever.
Yes, in Cold War, the gameplay, the modes, the online, it's all the exact same it was back then. The time period of the game is different, and it's better graphically. But other than that, what else is quote unquote innovative or changed about the Call of Duty series at all?
Huh?
Hard to answer that question because
No,
nothing
I
exists.
don't. No, I know. I don't disagree with you. I guess my follow up comment was going to be, well, isn't that the same with the majority of the other entries. But I guess there is a bigger conversation to have there. But we don't need to have that now because, we
I
just
agree.
don't.
I agree about Assassin's Creed. I feel like they're all the same. Their worlds are way different, but
Right.
the gameplay is the same. You go here, kill this person, and then you move on. Then a cutscene plays, and you trailing missions. Apparently, there's a lot of those. But no, I mean Mario Kart. You can make the argument there, but they always add new mechanics, and they always try to do something unique with it. But I mean, I guess you could say that with any series. But Call of Duty seems to have like the yearly release games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a fan of that. Also, because that promotes crunch in the game studios, and workers are overworked, and it's always yucky stuff.
So what you're saying is that you resent Ubisoft specifically.
I just don't like any of their games, man.
Allow me to. Oh, sorry. You're gonna keep going on Call of Duty.
No, the biggest thing for Ubisoft for me is that if you play Ubisoft games on PC, you have to use their Uplay launcher, and it is nasty. It doesn't run well. But that doesn't affect console gamers.
Would you like to talk more about Assassin's Creed?
I'm good.
Okay, moving on. Oh well, yeah. All right. Hey, how about some tasty Lord of the Rings news for you? You interested in that?
Gollum.
Nope, not Gollum.
Go ahead, I'm ready.
I'm gonna slap you with this. Amazon's budget for season 1 of their Lord of the Rings show, I think it's to be titled, is reportedly or confirmed. I can't remember which word they use. Over $450 million.
Interesting. I actually half expected more, but this is a TV show.
Well, correct, but to compare, and I believe this is accurate, but if it's not, that's fine. The pilot reportedly for HBO and Game of Thrones, the pilot reportedly cost HBO $5 to $10 million to produce, while the first season's budget was estimated at $50 to $60 million. So just to compare, Amazon's reportedly spending $450 million on season 1 of their to-be-titled Lord of the Rings series, and Game of Thrones' first season 10 years ago by now. I think, wasn't that this week or this month? 10 years?
Okay, so yeah, that is a lot more, because even season 8 of Game of Thrones, which had the highest budget, we won't have to talk about the quality of it, but 90 million. So yeah, this is a lot more. What, this like 5 times more? So that's
so let's unpack that. Where do you think that money is going?
I feel like Amazon just has the money to throw at the project. I imagine it would go to casting and special effects.
Okay, yep. I think that's fair. I think that's where my head was going. Well, casting, it to my knowledge, and I'm not sure if we've talked about this at all. They've released some of the names that they've casted for some of the roles, and I believe that for the most part, it's newcomers, or not newcomers, I guess newer actors, as opposed to like, I don't know, Bryan Cranston playing an elf. But so I would assume that it's probably going to environments and atmosphere and things like that. But I could be completely wrong. Maybe it's to supply coffee on set.
So I mean, blank checks are great. I hope that means that it's going to be quality.
It's going to be good. Yeah.
But man, does it make me nervous, because Lord of the Rings is such a pristine quality series, and it's when it doesn't live up to the expectations, it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth, kind of like The Hobbit, right? We were all expecting Lord of the Rings, and we kind of got Lord of the Rings fanfic. It wasn't really the same quality, and you could tell the difference. Same director, a lot of the team was the same. It just didn't feel as good.
A lot more CGI goblins.
Yeah, and the CGI just wasn't as good. I feel like the 2001 or 2 or whatever I think they started using it in Helm's Deep, in the Two Towers, the one with Helm's Deep. That was when they first started really using the CGI. They knew how to make it fit, right? Like they'd zoom out and they'd blend it well with the environment. The goblins just looked fake in The Hobbit.
It was truly breathtaking in a discouraging way.
And now it's a TV show, and TV shows generally don't look as good as movies, although Game of Thrones before the last season kind of changed that. Same with like Walking Dead in their first seasons, where they were like very high quality. It felt like every episode was a mini movie. So hopefully it goes down that route, but also,
but if it doesn't,
with $450 million, if you can't make a TV show work with that amount of money, then why are you in the business? I guess that would be my opinion.
Well, you might point to a script and producers and say, hey, maybe that should be good. But anyway, there's your weekly dose of Lord of the Rings news. I just thought I'd drop that on you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I mean,
of course,
I'm gonna watch.
I got Prime. You got Prime.
It's gonna happen. It's Lord of the Rings. I'm gonna consume it. So, I told you this earlier when you were over at my place.
Tell me again.
I'm going to build a PC.
You're a builder.
So, as someone who is a console gamer, what are your thoughts on PC building? Is that the reason?
Me.
I'm not patronizing you. I'm actually curious. Is because you have to build a PC one of the reasons why you don't do it? Why you've stuck with consoles, or is it the price, or what?
I don't think you have to build a PC. I think that's a personal decision that one can make for themselves and have their own reasons for doing that. Would you agree?
Well, you can get pre-builts, yeah.
Okay. To answer your question, honestly, I think the main reason is because I like sitting on a couch in front of a TV.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, if I had a PC, which I'm not against, by the way, I would prefer it. I know you could have it set up in different ways, but I would prefer it on a desk with a chair and just the vibe, and having dedicated space for that is quite the task sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer.
No, I think that's part of it. I think between that and the price, although when it comes to building PCs, I know there's a lot of people who are apprehensive because you have to know what you're doing. But there's YouTube videos.
I definitely don't know what I'm doing.
You can YouTube tutorial all of it. That's how I first learned, was just following YouTube videos. They were doing it, so I learned how.
What's the presumed timeline for this building process of yours?
Well, it's actually up in the air. Everything else, as soon as I get the money together, I'm going to go ahead and buy. But given that the video cards are in a shortage, for the exact same reason that PS5s and Xboxes are in a shortage right now.
They don't exist. We've already covered this.
Because of that, I mean, they aren't anywhere. Like, my dad was building a computer for himself, and because he's setting up a Plex server, and when he went to Micro Center, the whole aisle of video cards was just empty. He likened it to the toilet paper shortage at the beginning of COVID.
I did hear him say that, and I thought that was what a killer statement that was just thrown out into the room.
And it is. I mean, so there's been some proposed solutions, but the big problem is computer chip shortage, which that's not going to be fixed until, I don't know, the people making them start making more. Whatever the problem is on their end, why they're not making as much, that's the problem.
They're all probably out looking for toilet paper.
That's true. I mean, I imagine it's some type of material they need to make them is in shortage as well. It's usually something like that. But also, the same computer chips are used in cell phones and in high-end cars. And so, I mean, everything needs them. And I think the cell phone market gets the priority. I think cell phones are bought more than anything else. Everyone has a cell phone.
I think Tim Cook personally goes out and loads up his shopping cart with this piece of equipment that you're looking for, to make sure that his needs are taken care of and everyone else can get the scraps.
So I am going to have to wait for that. But basically, and it's the same with PS5s, whenever they do come in stock, you can get, as long as you get in queue fast enough on the store, Best Buy or wherever you're going to buy it, you can generally pick one up. But it's completely dependent on, you have to follow the specific Twitter pages that alert you when it happens, and then you have to immediately go on the website and queue up, and so it's possible. You just have to be patient. So I'll have to be doing that for a while, but I'll be working from home, so I will have the time I'll just have Best Buy up on the other monitor, I guess.
There you go. What a way to live your life. Just one hand on the grind and one hand on the
Other grind.
the other grind.
So there's that. But yes, the building a PC, I like doing it. I've wanted a PC this powerful for a long, long time, and I finally will have the means to do it. It was like all my struggling as a broke college student finally paid off. Having no money sucks.
Well, yes.
When I mean no money, I mean $0. Like ever. No money coming in. But it is what it is. You do what you have to do. And there's that.
You could always sell your body to science. But anyway, yes, PCs are wonderful. Maybe I'll get one day. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get a Nintendo Switch again. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll finish a freaking video game. Maybe I won't. What are you going to say?
Don't excite me by saying you're going to build a PC, because I'll be all involved in that process.
I didn't say build. I said get. There's a prime difference.
Either way, I'll be excited to be a part of that process.
All right. Well, I'll keep you on deck. All right. Before we bring this in for landing here, I have two things. I'll only share one. I'll save the other one for next week. I'll let you decide. Two little cud, like things that we can use as cud to chew on for closing comments. I'm gonna let you choose, but I don't want to give it away. So how am I gonna do this?
Just tell me to pick a number.
Okay, pick one or two.
2.
Oh, good answer. All right. So I'm not sure if you've heard of this. In regards to Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's the new movie, right?
The third installment of the Tom Holland, that was my British accent, Spider-Man films.
That was supposed to be British.
Just let it happen. We've discussed a little bit about it in the past as far as, rumors about Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield returning, Spider-Verse-ish things, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But one thing that is virtually confirmed, and I can't remember if we mentioned, Alfred Molina returning as Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire, in some way. And so there's a little article here that I took a little screenshot from. Is from IGN. They were interviewing him, I think, for something else, but they asked him about his upcoming thing and the new Spider-Man. So just gonna read you a little bit here. Molina spoke, and I quote. I'm going to read it quickly, so just try to hold on. Buckle up. Molina spoke with No Way Home director John Watts about how Octavius could return after seemingly dying in Spider-Man 2 and was told that, in this universe, no one really dies. The director also apparently told Molina early on that No Way Home will pick up where Octavius' story left off, from that moment in the river. Presumably where Doc Ock sacrifices himself to submerge his energy machines. As for Molina's concern regarding his age, Watts told the actor to look at what Marvel did for Robert Downey Jr. and Samuel L. Jackson when they were de-aged in past Marvel movies, but Molina still had concerns. So I say all that to say, really interesting that maybe in some way, shape, or form that they're going to, cut to him drowning in a lake from 20 years ago whenever Spider-Man 2 came out. I think that's super cool. So I thought that was kind of neat.
Another interesting implication of the comment that director made, where no one really dies in this universe. Could we see a Tony Stark resurgence?
I think he's pretty dead.
But apparently no one really dies.
Well, that's fine. It's fine. Well, yeah. Thoughts on Doc Ock returning? Could you care less? You excited?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked the villain. I think my favorite Doc Ock was actually the one in the Into the Spider-Verse animated movie.
It's a pretty good one. That was the voice of Catherine Hahn, who was Agatha in WandaVision.
Ooh,
not that you care. I just thought I'd spit that at you too.
I like random facts of knowledge.
You like random facts and knowledge.
I do, and I like them put together so that I can win trivia games that I never go to.
I think we should wrap this up.
Of course you think you should wrap this up.
Well, you just talking about trivia nights. You're losing your darn mind. All right, with Alfred Molina, this has been the Go to Mythos podcast. Unless you have something to say. Should I close this? Do you have something else you want to add about your trivia nights that you never go to?
Just to reiterate, the next week is going to be focused on Mass Effect, and that you should definitely watch and or listen, and then you should also pre-order the game and play it. BioWare, hire me.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, again, yeah, next week. all things Mass Effect. God help me. Hey, we're on the Facebook. We're on the Twitter. Greater Mythos Podcast. If you want some little updates, and maybe I'll post a picture of my house plants every now and then. What else? We have episodes every week. That's the goal. That's what we strive for. We strive for good things. And with that, we're both Josh for some reason, and this is a podcast.
Hello.